What up, gang? I hope you're having a great week. This week, Tony Sanchez joins me. Ray Hernandez, the normal guy that's with me, if you remember that guy, he's out on vacation in Hawaii. So, caught up with Tony Sanchez, great friend, super cool dude. He's the associate design director at Funsize, and we had a great conversation. So, I think you'll enjoy the episode. However, I do want to let you know that the first 8 minutes of the episode, the audio, I fucked it up. So it's a little echoey. If that bothers the shit out of you, just, fast forward to minute 8 and, just don't complain. Okay. All right. Anyway, hey, I hope you enjoyed the episode. And hey, that's it. Have you ever been any on some of these social events that we go to, I know you've run into this. It's like you're a little quiet. I mean, you're quieter than me, I guess, in terms of whatever. But, you're a pretty social guy when you get into a conversation. Every once in a while you get into a circle of people, because I'll go jump in circles of people where I don't know people that well or whatever. And there'll be these sometimes it's hard. You have to push the conversation. You're I know you guys are all interesting. Come on, fucking talk with me. So you got to hold it up.
Well, it's very interesting you bring that up, because I think that the conversations that come up, when you go, I'm thinking, we're starting to do it now, getting back together. But before quarantine, before pandemic, all that, going to design meetups and going to social networking events and stuff like that. A lot of times the conversations only go so far. Right. What do you do? What do you do? Who do you work for? What are you working on? And then maybe some bonus question that somebody will throw in. But But I've started throwing a little bit of a wrench in there. When somebody's oh, what do you do? I remember one time I was I'm a kite designer. Oh, okay, cool. Tell me about that. I just make up a spiel to just keep it going, because it keeps it more interesting.
Kind of a good icebreaker too. You're nah, I'm just kidding. I do this, but then they have seen a little bit of personality.
Yeah, and to me that's what it's all about. I'm kind of dating myself here, but what's the last CD you had in your car?
Dude, right? You're talking to the other old guy. I think I outweigh you there. Oh yeah, the CD you have in your car. That's actually pretty funny. You're oh, what CDs you been checking out lately? The kids are I know they maybe I've actually heard kids. I don't know what the break-off point is, but I've heard now this kids are starting to not know what CDs are. I would say for the most part, you could still be pretty young. I would imagine you could be in your 20s and you would know what a CD is.
Yeah.
Right. I think I
hope so.
I think so. Shit. Who knows? The people listening to this, if we've got any youngsters, hang on, let me Google this shit.
Yeah. What is a CD? What does that actually stand for?
Oh, it's you put money in the bank and they hold it for you. Okay, that's weird. Well, dude,
that just clicked to me.
Excellent. So, man, how's your day going? You guys are doing a method week right now, huh?
Yeah, right now we are technically it's Wednesday, so we should be 3 days in, but we had Memorial Day, so we are actually day 2 in. Method Week. For those of you that don't know what Method Week is, I work for an agency called Funsize. We're kind of a more boutique product agency here in Austin, and I'll just give you the full spiel. So I've been at Funsize for about 5.5 years, kind of a big number, I think.
It's not what your LinkedIn says. It says closer to 6.5.
Okay, that's
fact
fair.
check.
That's fair. But whenever I started working at Funsize, we only worked 4 days a week on client work, and the 4th day was kind of internal development kind of stuff. So we technically did work, but we didn't work on client work. And so, considering there's about 4 Fridays a month, each one of those Fridays was themed a little bit differently, and the theme of that is what you worked on for that day. There could have been, I don't remember the specific themes back then, but I think one of them was like megaphone, where you could write an article about something you've been working on, or, record a podcast about something you've been working on or interested in thinking about. There was like internal development, like creative development. So you might go to a museum, or you might work on an art project or something to kind of like allow your creativity to kind of just grow. But what was happening was that we weren't able to see and to kind of see the tangible and tactile like progress from one Friday to the next. Yeah. So what we decided, or what leadership decided to do, was shift to working 5 days a week, but then ultimately close 1 week out of every quarter and dedicate it to that theme. So now we have, like, this method week that we're in right now, is the theme is learn. So like yesterday we learned about, let's see, what did we do? We did abstract painting. So learning from a local artist about, their approach, their process, the background behind like abstract realism. And then this morning we did soap making from another local artist. And then
that's cool.
Today was to finish off was like a ceramics class. So we all kind of like learned a little bit about the ceramics, and there's more stuff planned this week. But yeah, it's pretty stoked to be able to have the luxury of a method week. I understand it's a luxury.
Yeah, that's dope. Well, the concept in general is really dope, and I'm glad that you guys have kept it up for, I don't know how many years now, like 4 at least, or something like that.
Yeah, I know that officially. I think this is method 16.
Oh yeah, so that'd be about 4 years.
Yeah, from officially counting, I think this is about 4
That's
years.
dope, man. Well, and plus all the stuff you guys do. I mean, I don't know who all puts effort into like planning those. I'm sure Natalie's got her finger in it.
100%.
But
100%.
Those are they're always so cool, and they're always things that when I see you guys doing them or I hear about them later, I'm like, man, I want to do that.
Yeah, like I said, it's a luxury, and I full well acknowledge that, but. And I'm grateful for that, because like the work that I do every day and the timelines leading up to method like really help me push really, really hard, because I know like at the end of the quarter we have that like kind of like breath of fresh air coming. We have that time to take a second and to step back a little bit. So like that helps me really push hard to do really good work.
Yeah, that's badass, dude. And the full week, I mean, that's ballsy too, for, Anthony and Natalie. I mean, is kind of the owners of the company, like probably are the ones that had to like have those conversations with clients in the beginning.
Yeah. And,
we're going to take a week off. I'm sure there's, that can be rough, some rough conversations sometimes.
Sometimes, but you know what? What I hear from our clients, like approaching these weeks, like, because we like in my role, like as currently my new role is associate design director.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats, bro.
Thanks, man. So part of my role is like reminding our clients, hey, we have this week coming up. Just want to make sure that you're aware and we can set things up accordingly. And like the response is actually really like, that's so cool. Oh, I wish we did that. That would be awesome. So like it's, as long as we are communicating kind of early and often and setting the right pace and tone for the project, like everything's Gucci, like it's fine.
Badass. Yeah, that continual communication, that's probably like the key factor there. It's like, oh, by the way, next week we're off all week. It's like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why didn't you remind me?
Yeah.
Hey gang, have you ever thought about starting a podcast of your own? Well, quit thinking about it and get started. Check out riverside.fm. It's an amazing platform that allows you to record high-quality audio and video directly to your computer. They've also got amazing built-in editing tools that you can use directly in the browser. It's super easy. With a few clicks, you'll be ready to publish. Quit waiting around. You want to start a podcast? Get started today. Check out riverside.fm. Use our promo code UXWeekly. What are you waiting for? Can't wait to hear your podcast. Yeah, thanks for the pause there, Tony. I fucked shit up and my microphone wasn't working.
All good.
But
no worries.
Well, hopefully it sounds super sweet now. But hey, so whenever you you've been at Funsize for, around 6 years. When you first started there, you made a bit of a career change, right? Like weren't
Yeah.
you doing something kind of entirely different?
Yeah, yes. If we're looking at it in black and white, yes. But still design related. So
Yeah,
my
yeah.
previous life, I would like to say, was traditional kind of graphic design, textile printing. So I was a
I guess that
production.
would not be entirely different, but yeah,
It's like
a little different.
it's a different. It's same toolbox, but different tools, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I was doing screen printing, both T-shirt and paper goods, for a long time, about 6 or 7 years, something like that. And man, I think back to those days, and they're still some of the most fun days I think I've ever had. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I when they say like, or I don't know, not that I'm not excited to get up and go to work now, but it was just different. It was
No,
just
no,
like a
I understand.
different set of creative skills being used at that time.
Well, there is a difference. I mean, yeah, we all love what we do. I mean, I think, designers have, some of the best jobs in the world. I mean, you get paid to go think and be creative and then produce something, and you get to see the results of that. But the timelines and the things we work with, sometimes the bigger the project gets, the longer, the more voices, the more, there's just a lot of stuff that goes into it. And although it's rewarding and you fucking probably get paid a lot more, there's a really cool thing about like working with your hands and seeing that kind of immediate gratification.
Oh,
Especially
gosh.
like, I remember you used to always like, maybe it was your early days. My timelines are a little messed up now, but I think it was closer when you first joined the company, when they would have events, you'd print off shirts for everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I would still do that right now. I love that. I think it's so fun.
Yeah.
Because like when you say like similar skills, non-similar skills, like the experience of printing a T-shirt live for somebody is like an amazing thing that happens.
Yeah.
Like I can't tell you how many events that I printed at where the free T-shirt line was like 3 times longer than the free beer line. It kind of blew my mind every time. Like a freaking T-shirt, you're standing in line for an hour, but people did it. It's so wild.
Yeah, dude. And how cool is that? I mean, like, you're basically creating this promotional merchandise that people are just dying to have. It's like, I'm going to go walk around with your company's name on me.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. People love it.
It didn't hurt that your shirts y'all shirts are always pretty baller too. So, it's like you get free shirts at conferences sometimes and you're like, that's cool. Thanks. But I mean, I don't know if I'll wear this except if I'm like working in the garage or something.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as Funsize is concerned, that's again here. Natalie's in the equation again. She has a very, very strong, as I think that we both know, very strong design aesthetic, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It kind of
man.
annoys me. It's
I
I'm
cut
usually
my-
pretty jealous.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I will full well acknowledge that, like the visual stuff is not my 100% skill set, and I will defer to the professionals for that.
No, I mean, even if it was, the more you you grow with the company and you learn. Like now, you've got you and I have always had these conversations. You, me, and Brian. I remember we would stand out there for a long time, and you always had a lot of interesting perspectives on like leadership and just the work at our industry in general, but on leadership. So for me, it's really cool to see that you've. I mean, I can't remember how long it was before we met, but we kind of hit it off and started having pretty cool conversations. So it's been cool to, not only maintain our relationship, but see you, with Funsize for so long. And now you're like, now you're pretty much like getting into like a leadership role. Like, I don't know how you guys, really define it, but that's what I would say.
Oh yeah, 100%. And especially like I was saying with the kind of like reimagining of roles within our org. I feel like myself and a few other people in my similar position are really helping shape how we do things, and that's what I really love, because I think that where you and I really overlap is like the dynamic of what it's like when people get together and do things.
Yeah.
And like that is, I think, also like a big strong component of Funsize. And I mean, just in myself, like I'm like working together with either one other person or 10 other people. Like so much stuff comes from that, rather than you just like feeling like I can solve this problem myself. And so like being able to help really, provide my opinion, my thoughts on how we do that. Like I'm so down for that.
Yeah. Well, that's dope too, that, that it's a possibility, I mean, you've worked at other places. I mean, the kind of old traditional way is kind of, you've got the leadership, they're kind of telling everyone what to do. And I mean, I think a lot of companies, I mean, I don't think it's just Funsize or just any of my previous companies, because we, obviously Anthony and I, our companies shared some DNA, which was always cool to see how things were different, but like there were similarities. But, I think a lot of companies in general are realizing that there's so much value in, utilizing the brains of the team. I actually don't even really like saying employees for some reason. It's kind of weird, but like, it's like, I always just think of it as like the team. And yeah, there's like new people on the team, there's old people on the team. But I don't know, when you think about it that way, it's like anybody can contribute and anybody kind of has a voice. And, sometimes people say stupid shit or whatever. It's like, yeah, we're not going to do that. Or, like there's the dreams of like people that don't, the youngsters that kind of don't understand yet how like a business functions, where they're like, they have ideas that you're like, yeah, we're just not going to be able to do that. But the fact that like nobody's really afraid to like voice up, kind of try stuff. And you guys are like, you specifically, know that you're able to make an impact and like shape the future. It's pretty badass.
Yeah. And like to that point, I kind of like what we were just talking about, like I was a career switcher, and we've had several career switchers come in that are really early in their career that have gone through an accelerator like I did. And so I work with those folks really closely because one thing I know is I've been in their shoes. I know like what it feels like to make a big switch, or to go through a life event and to have anxiety, excitement, fear, doubt, like all of that stuff, right? And that's okay. Like whenever I talk to my people, I'm like, that's okay, that's great. All of these things that are spinning around in your head, that you're feeling, like those are healthy, and you should embrace that. But don't let those hold you back, because for people that I would call it an opportunity, that have an opportunity to come work with us at Funsize, like you're here for a reason. You're here because you have a perspective. You're here because you have an opinion. And like, like to your point, like, oh, you have some crazy, wild, off the wall idea. Cool. We might not be able to do that, but you should still you should still say that, right?
Yeah,
because
totally.
you're still a human being. You still have a valuable point of view. So yeah.
No, that's dope. Well, I would imagine that there's a good opportunity to feel some imposter syndrome if you're doing a career switch and you're working with, I know I've known a lot of the folks you've worked with, and some of them have been designing for a long time. And there's just total badasses. So I'm sure like making a career switch and like, dude, everybody gets in their head. Like, I mean, I don't think it ever goes away. And like, I mean, I think like you said, I think it's kind of healthy. I feel like it kind of gets you on your game, but there's obviously like a point of diminishing return where it's like, now you're getting in your own way. So yeah, it's good to keep in mind.
Yeah. Damn. I was just thinking about something, and it just left me.
Oh, that's me. Like pretty much.
No,
every
I would
sentence.
say like my like what I say to myself quite a bit is like, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you can acknowledge it, but like don't let it hold you back.
Oh yeah. That'd be a good shirt, maybe. Feel the fear, but do it anyway. I don't know. You might have to edit that a little bit. Well, talking about just how much you value like working with people around you. One of the things, it's kind of a little term or whatever. I hadn't really heard it. I'm sure it's like out there, but like there's the kind of idea of like no matter what kind of creative thing you're doing, kind of the idea of the creator and editor relationship. So an example of that would be, you said you guys, I mean, you, at least in Method Week, it would be like write a blog post or whatever, or, but I think that's kind of, for me, kind of an easier way. Cause it's like, if people get editing, but it's like, if you're not like a great writer, like, man, I can really like slow myself down and get in the way, if I'm trying to like, I mean, I'm not even talking about like editing while you're doing it, but it's like you write something, you're like, I don't know how I feel. Like, do I think this is good or bad? It's just like, I wrote it. I can't judge it. So like having that other person there with you, or that can say like, hey dude, I just took a draft of this. Like, can you check it out? And they're like, oh, cause like when you're reading it, it's all fresh and you're comprehending it for the first time. And you can go like, oh, okay, yeah. So like, I think what I like is like, even if it's somebody with the same skill set, it's like, all right, have a partner and like, we'll do the creator editor roles. And I think that makes it go a lot quicker too. Cause it's like, you didn't have to just really overthink it. It's like, all right, I took a stab at it. Like, yeah, I mean, you don't just hand over a piece of shit, but you go through and make sure you're like, okay, I'm not going to overthink it. Just take a look at it. And then immediately you could have spent a lot of time thinking through all those decisions again, but immediately somebody else seeing it's going to go like, yeah, this is a little weird, or, oh, hey, I really like this, or hey, have you thought about how this would work? And like that feedback loop, like then you can, if you get that feedback immediately, you're like, great. Those are all fucking great ideas. Thanks.
Yeah.
Fucking churn that shit out.
Yeah. 100%. I will add a layer onto that I think like is really helpful whenever similar instances like this like come up. And even in like just normal like project client stuff is like setting the right expectations up front. Because
good point.
Because like you can have this relationship of creator and editor, but if there's kind of no guardrails or no parameters up front, then other than this is our relationship, then these things have potentially could go off the rails just the same. I think so. Like I think that in my mind, especially kind of coming from my point of view, like setting the right expectations relative to what we're doing is like it just helps. It's like the front end is
that's
just
a good point.
Important as the back end.
Yeah, that's a good point because I'm sure you've done some. Well, I would imagine you've done like some really quick mock-ups of something, and you're like, I just want to get it in front of you just to see if I'm directionally this makes sense. You have like complex navigational structures or some shit, and you're like, all right, you really do sling together some shit. And it's like if you don't, like, I think we've all made the mistake of showing clients work without setting those expectations. Like if you want to show them stuff early and you're like, yeah, this is where I'm going. They're like, man, this doesn't look good. And you're like, yeah. No, we're not looking at all that yet. Hang on.
Yeah. No shit. I know. Or I know that.
Yeah. I'm offended that you actually don't think I know that.
Yes.
No, that's a good point. Setting those expectations is definitely important. Well, so you were doing screen printing before joining Funsize. Now we just jumped on here and we're, obviously we're buds and, we're just going to have a conversation, but I figured I'd just go peek on your LinkedIn real quick. Cause I was not sure about how long you had been at Funsize, but, I saw one of the things. So you are doing a few things and you have done a few things. I don't know if all these still exist, but, I saw you had an apparel company called Fine Southern Gentlemen, which, I mean, I freaking love the name. What's up? Is that still happening? Is that, it's kind of low key happening?
That is still happening. Yeah.
All right.
I'm not really involved in the day-to-day goings on. My super good friend, like to say my best friend, Justin Weems is an unstoppable. Yeah, definitely 100% shout out to Justin Weems. been a confidant and a trusted homie for a very long time. And the guy is an unstoppable business machine.
So this was a venture of you guys that you got into
Yeah,
a few years ago?
yeah. So we were. This started off. I think that in. I can't remember what year I was still living back in East Texas, in Nacogdoches.
Oh, so quite a few years ago then.
Yeah, this was.
Okay.
I think 12 years ago. I think no, more than
Oh,
that.
all right.
I think it's more like 15.
Over a decade.
Yeah, because I've been in Austin for 11 years, and it was definitely 4 or 5 before that. So a while. And
Yeah.
so we were living together in our apartment, and we were both single at the time, and we were both working at this bar. It's a very long story, but like we were both single at the time, and there were these we had friends that were women working at this bar. They were really awesome, really cool, really attractive. But they were dating the most like awful dudes, and we were like, "You're so cool. Why are you dating this jerk, this loser? Why?" Like, oh, he, blah blah blah. We were like, and at the time we were like, the nice guys finish last, mentality, like. And so with both of us being from Texas and stuff, it was just like, oh, we're the last of the fine Southern gentlemen at the time, and it started out as like a little bit of tongue in cheek, and then we were like or I was like so I was getting my undergrad at the time and in advertising design, and
Okay.
how did it come about? I was like, I think we just did a round of T-shirts, just like off the. I had like CS 10 or something, like Illustrator, like CS 10 or 5 or I don't even know what it was.
anymore.
But
Yeah.
it was definitely pirated for sure.
Oh, yeah. I get it.
And so I think I just slapped together like some really early T-shirt design. We got a round of shirts made, and I was like, just for fun. And I think that, I don't even know if we sold them. We just probably gave them away, but it was an investment. We're like, damn, that was expensive.
Right.
And so at the time, I was like, I in school, I needed an internship. And so I was like, okay, cool. Like I could maybe go get a job at a screen printing company to get this internship. And then we could also maybe get like a deal on shirts. So I did that. I went and got a job at Dolphin Printing, and in Nacogdoches, very very small shop, very very small shop. It was I won't say it's the worst job I've ever had, but it was close.
Oh,
it was close. I think back in the day, of minimum wage being like just at like $6 or something like that. And God, I hope my old boss doesn't listen to this, but
He is. This
I would get
distributed.
I would get paid in scratch off lotto tickets.
Oh,
Like
man.
that's not a joke. That is 100% true.
He's
But
like, buddy, I'm doing you a favor. This
Yeah.
could be $1 million here.
But all that aside, it was a super like hyper growth time for me creatively to develop
Yeah.
like really tactical skills that still hang out with me today. But one of the really interesting points that came up, like during the time of like talking to my previous boss, whenever I was like trying to get on there, is he said this very interesting question to me. He's like, why should I hire you? It's like, you tell me, why should I hire you? And I was like, well, I really want to work here. I really want to do cool stuff. And he's like, no. Like why? And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, well, you don't know anything about screen printing, right? He's like, and I was like, no, not really. That's kind of why I want to be here. He's like, okay, well, I'm going to invest in you. I'm going to teach you how to do this. And you could leave at any point and go get a job anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's interesting.
So what are you going to do for me?
Yeah. And like, I think about that a lot because it's true. Like even in our line of work now, like I said, when working with people really early in their career,
Yeah.
We give them skills, we help them build skills, and we have to do that in good faith. That, or maybe not even. Maybe the intent is like, hey, yeah, I'm happy to see you go do whatever. But anyway, back to my story.
No, I get where you're going. But yeah, carry on.
Yeah, so we did that for a while, and also at the time, so Justin is a musician. He doesn't play his guitar anymore. I really wish he would, because you're a phenomenal guitar player.
Come on, Justin.
Yeah, and he's in a really really badass band at the time, and also at the same bar, we kind of like renovated this back bar area. And it was called the back door, because it was the door to get in was in the back of the building.
I gotcha.
Yeah, and so Justin started booking shows, just all the time, like emo shows, metal shows, like all kinds of stuff, and it really took off, and like we started selling stuff like merch table, and then I don't know, that job sucked, and that job sucked. And
what, selling merch?
Well, no, just that bar. That bar sucked. It was awful. Then that kind of ran its course, and then Justin ended up moving to Austin, and I kind of followed suit. I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 months after, and we started selling at a little shop in Austin here called Parts and Labor. That was the very first one, and
now you had established the Fine Southern Gentleman brand at that point.
Yeah, so before, when it started to kind of get a little bit of traction, I remember both of us went to the tax office and made it official.
Nice.
And
that always feels kind of good.
Yeah,
making it official, like we're really doing it.
Yeah, and then with that came, around that time, like moving to Austin, because we didn't start printing things ourselves until the operation kind of moved to Austin. And so it's operating out of his garage. I was living with him at the time, and we were operating.
Got you a carousel.
Yeah, four press, 4 color, real janky setup, but hey, it got the job done.
Hell yeah!
And it just grew. It grew and grew and grew. And one thing that I will say is that I took a path of my own, and don't know how deep we want to get here, but
oh, dude, give it to me, whatever feels right.
I was going through a lot at that time, and moving out of my hometown, just graduated college, had just not reason being, but around that time also broke up with a girlfriend, and I was going through a lot, and I needed some stability. So I went and I got a job at the screen printing company that I worked at for about 5 years, kind of by way of Fine Southern Gentleman too, because we did a giant order for I don't even remember what it was now, but we had no way to cure 700 shirts, and so we hit up Jed Taylor at Sanctuary Print Shop, and I was like, hey, like we have a ton of shirts, like would it be at all cool if we like came and just ran these shirts to your dryer? And surprisingly, he was like, yeah, come on, we'll make room. We got you.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah, it's so wild. And so ultimately that I ended up hopping on there, and Justin continued to just run with the ball. And it has been phenomenally insane to watch how far this thing has gone. It's still going. It started out in, a 200 square foot garage, and now he's in I think 5,500 square foot warehouse, like printing on massive machines, fulfilling massive orders, working with massive clients, and still
classic success story.
Yeah, and still
started in the garage.
Yeah, still staying true to the vision, and like doing it grassroots style, like working with local bands, local artists that don't have the means to reach a broader audience, but they're doing the fulfillment for them. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. FindSouthernGentleman.com. Also, they've started a record label, Feel So Good Records. They put on shows
shit.
and like it's amazing, dude. And yeah, I look, I don't know, to even say that I was a part of it is an honor to me. So an honor to know Justin as well. He's, like I said, he's unstoppable.
You're such a sweet guy. Yeah, you're a fucking good buddy. Well, so okay. When I saw you, you got Fine Southern Gentleman.
Oh,
I was also
sorry.
in
By the
your-
way, one thing, like
Yeah.
it's here. It's forever. FSG. I know it's backwards, but
Oh,
it's
sweet.
forever.
Okay.
Fine Southern Zone. It's forever. So
Nice. That's fucking legit. He can. Yeah. You're bound together forever. Okay, so you've got Fine Southern Gentleman, and that sounds badass. I'm glad you told me that story because when I read it, I was like, well, maybe this was a little thing. A lot of people do a little thing, and put it on your LinkedIn, whatever.
yeah.
But so here's my common denominator so basically, I see you on Instagram, and you're like out fishing, you're out cooking in the woods. Your sweet lady, is always with you, which is really cool that, you've found someone that like, cause I'm down to like go to the woods fucking, I don't, I'm like a wannabe like mountain man. So that's really cool. And then what I saw was that you have an Instagram that's Bumper Crop Urban Garden.
That is true.
And it just kind of continued to layer upon this idea. So like, are you like, did you grow up like in the country? Are you kind of like a country boy?
I wish I could say I did, but I didn't really. I didn't, and I wish I did. Like in hindsight, at the time, no, I probably didn't want to do that. But now,
Yeah, I did grow up in the country and I hated it. Now I'm older and I'm like, man, I wish I lived in the country.
yeah, but yeah, that's really funny you bring that up because I think in full transparency that was a pandemic thing. We were actually Isabel and I were just talking about this, but yeah, I believe it was like a pandemic thing. But we were living in another house for a couple of years, and it was like maybe 15-minute walk from a community garden, and
Gotcha.
we were like, I don't know how we even discovered. I think she discovered it, to be totally honest.
Yeah,
We're like, hey, let's get in on this. It's so cool. Because my mom is a huge plant person.
Okay.
And so like I kind of feel like I've had that like vicariously in my blood, right? To be a plant person, and also like. To be totally honest, Stephen, the more we talk about some of these things, the more I realize how connected they are. Because and I haven't really ever thought about that, but like the tactileness of like farming or gardening, vegetable gardening is the exact same as screen printing. It's a direct correlation. Your output is a direct correlation to the effort that you put in. So that's kind of wild.
And you're getting out there. Yeah, I love that. I think probably a lot of people, I romanticize a lot of things and like, being able to like grow my own, not necessarily grow my own food because I necessarily think that it's more so, I kind of didn't finish that sentence. Not necessarily growing it because I think that I have to like grow my own food and feed myself, or that's even really a desire. It's more so like the act of sort of like getting a little dirty, getting your hands in soil, and then like trying to grow something, and then like seeing the successes, or kind of like, even if it kind of always sucks when like things don't grow properly or start to die, but like if you can kind of catch it and you're like, all right, I'll figure out what I need to do. It's just kind of a cool. It's really cool. And the kind of what layers on top of that is it's like, it's kind of a life skill that you may not ever really need. But if you ever did, you're like, all right, I at least can take a fighting chance at like growing some shit.
Yeah. I was listening to this other podcast. It was a wild fly podcast. It was actually a fly fishing podcast. But he was talking to this guy. Yeah. He was talking to this guy. I can't remember. I think it's Corey something or other. But he was saying like he he owns his own farming business now. And whenever he got started, he got out of the military and he didn't have anything to do. And he's like, like I really think that like growing my own food is like, as a man, is something I should know how to do. Not that I don't like have to survive I don't have to grow my own food to survive, but it feels like something I should need to know how to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the same thing, not from like a man perspective, but like, going from seed to fruit and like enjoying that is pretty amazing.
Yeah, totally. Well, I guess maybe the right word I should have said earlier is like I'm a wannabe survivalist. It's like,
oh, okay, you're a prepper. That's it. Okay, got it.
Dude, I did subscribe to Off the Grid magazine at one point, and it's fucking cool as shit. But I'm not crazy yet. We'll see what age does. But no, I think that's totally cool. So you guys, so you went and got like a little plot, and how did you? I mean, you have some success with it. I mean, all the photos look pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, man. It was like pretty mind blowing how just preparation, consistency, just makes things happen. Like I remember we had in a 20 by 20 plot, we had tomato. We had maybe three or four different varieties of tomato. We had habanero, jalapeno, serrano. We had okra, both red and purple. So both green and purple. Eggplant, carrots, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower. Like, and it all came to fruition. It was awesome. And we got really into pickling for a while. So like we have like a bunch of stuff, like cans of like pickles and pickled okra and carrots and stuff like that. So yeah, it was really awesome.
I mean, that's true country boy stuff right there. Like when you start pickling jars of stuff. Yeah. Doesn't matter if you didn't grow up that way. I think you've achieved achieved country boydom.
My mom gave me this big fat book called Country Wisdom, and it's just like everything. I mean, it's essentially like a survival guide. It's pretty awesome. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, I love it.
It's been really fun. We did that for a couple of years, and then we ended up moving out of that house. We ended up buying a house, and we're like, oh, we'll keep the plot. It's only 25 minutes away. We'll keep it.
It's too far.
Yeah, kind of coming back to what I was saying. So like, prep and consistency, like you think that you can make it, but like when it's not, a 10-minute walk away or so, it's like it makes things quite harder. So we ended up giving that back. And also during pandemic, like the wait list to get a plot at the Sunshine Community Garden went up to like 3 years. It was like 3-year wait. Oh wow! It was just wild, man. How many people wanted to kind of get in on that?
Want to be gardeners. And
so now we have a plot in the backyard, so it works out.
Sweet.
Yeah,
You having success back there? You got some stuff growing?
Oh yeah, we got tomatoes.
Dude.
Got some black trifle tomatoes. Got some jalapeno, serrano. Kind of the same stuff. It's seasonal, right? Like a lot of that's the other thing too. Is like I realized that, I was like, oh, when I'd walk around, because there's like probably 100 different plots there. And I was like, oh, I wonder what they're doing. I wonder what they're growing. I wonder what they're growing. I wonder what they're growing. It's all the same because we live in the same region, and it's hot, and so you have to have like really hardy, heat tolerant plants and stuff. So it's pretty much all the same stuff.
Well, then I mean, you were probably also able to like more easily go around and judge people then too.
Oh yeah.
You're like, what are they doing?
Yeah. You could tell who knew their shit and who didn't. Real
I mean, I would imagine a lot of people get them and then don't go. It's like they get it, they finally get it. They're like, the exciting part, let's go plant some shit. And then it's like, wait, we got to go back regularly.
That's the thing, dude. That's the thing. Yeah. And like, kind of another little metaphor for life, I think, is the weeds. One of the things that I learned is the weeds. And that applies. I know. Tell me to shut up because I go deep all the time.
Dude, I'm the one digging here. Yeah,
I think about this shit all like this type of stuff all the time because we'd go over there, and just go over there to pick weeds, like pick the little shit out of the ground, and like you could spend 2 hours picking weeds and still not get them all.
Oh yeah.
And then you come back 3 days later, and they're the ones that were there are bigger, and maybe there's new ones. But it's just like life.
Yeah.
Like you try to fix if you try to fix every problem at the same time, you're just gonna drive yourself crazy. And if you continue thinking about it and trying to fix it like right away, you're just gonna drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
So like you can only do with what you can do within the amount of time and effort that you have, and then you just keep doing it. You just keep trying.
Yeah.
You just keep pulling those weeds. You just
Yeah,
keep
I mean,
pulling
that
them
is
out.
that metaphor makes sense. I mean, I could see. So one thing that I've probably talked about on here with a few folks, but like, when we're all busy people. Like I know you, I know your company. Like I know you're busy. One of the things that I constantly have to do still, and I feel like I say still because I feel like it's one of those things that I feel like I should have gotten trained to do, and maybe I did and then like got untrained, but it's like you've got so much shit to do. If I don't just block out everything else except for one thing, I can like find my brain jumping between all those and like making zero progress.
Oh yeah.
So I could definitely see how that applies to like gardening. Cause if you went over there and you did a little bit of weeding, but then a little bit of tending to the plants, like there'd still be a bunch of weeds and there'd still be a bunch of unfinished plants. So it's like, all right, weeding is the thing we're going to do today. So we can make, we'll be better prepared to then focus on the plants or whatever. Yeah. It's a great metaphor, dude.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, yeah, I took away a lot of stuff from that time, and also just gardening in general, man. From I don't know, a lot of things. Just investing time for a result.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dude, you're a deep guy, man. I like it. Like the fact that you do this stuff and you're like you kind of are making these parallels with life, like that's cool shit. Cause I think like, I mean, especially when you're like out in nature, but even just with like previous jobs or whatever, like that's the value you're supposed to get out of these things, is that it's helping you just kind of grow in life. Right. I mean, I think especially in nature, cause I think nature is just the way shit works, whether it looks the same or not. Like, so like relationships, like jobs, whatever it might be, there's like a certain amount of like, just nature in general, like the nature of like, having, this may sound stupid, maybe I'm not using the right words, but it's like the nature of like, having friends, making friends, communicating and having relationships and like all those types of things. I mean, I think there's like some similarities with everything, right? Because like in the garden, like if you don't nurture it, it's going to die. And I think, one of the things I've learned is like very clearly like that with like friendships, because one of the things that I did early on was, when I was a lot younger, I would go to a lot of conferences and meet a lot of people and meet some really cool people and be like, yeah, this is a homie. And then like so much time goes by, then you kind of like reach out or whatever. I think I've mentioned this before, but it's like, somebody who's blowing up and you're like, oh, cool. You're like, I'm happy for them. I'm not that guy that like, does the like, I try to support homies when they're blowing up because I want to blow up, or in whatever that might mean. I want to be successful and I want people to like support me. Yeah. So I'm going to do my best to support my friends. But the point there I was getting at was, I've had some relationships and like people start to see success and they're in your industry and you kind of want to reach out, not because you want to say like, oh, give me what you've, earned, but you're like, maybe there's just an opportunity. It's like, homeboy starts a freaking, I'm just trying to make some shit up here, but homeboy starts a printing shop and you have all this shit and you're like, oh, or whatever. Let's use that the other way. You've got a printing shop, homie has a band or something. You're like, oh man, I'd love to do your shirts. Yeah. But then at that point, it's like, I really haven't nurtured that relationship. Now it seems like I'm just like, I'm just touching base just because I want to like make money off of you or something.
Yeah, it would feel inauthentic at that point.
Totally. Yeah. Even though that's like in your mind, you're like, it is authentic. It's just like, but you didn't do a good job like nurturing that relationship, so you don't have. It doesn't. You can't lean on that because. Yeah, I'm kind of rambling a little bit. No. The metaphor of like what you're talking about with like nurturing plants, like to keep them thriving. Like, I think, I love it.
I have a question. Okay. How many people do you know
I'm just going to go with LinkedIn because there's lots of different lists of people that you're connected to. But like my frame is within LinkedIn. How many of your connections do you know personally, percentage-wise?
Man, I don't even know how to know that. Like, well, when you say do I know personally,
Like
do you mean have I never met them? I've had drinks with
but
them,
had a conversation, something like to your point of that. Like if you saw somebody on, you're connected to via LinkedIn, and you could reach out to them and they would remember you.
That's a good question. I think a lot of people would remember me. I definitely have a handful. But I mean, I think homies, like it's probably a pretty low percentage. Like somebody that I've gotten very, I'm going to like make it sound as bad as possible. Like I've gotten very stingy with my time.
Yeah.
And I say that on purpose because I'm like, no, you're right. But I mean, I used to not be. I used to be the social guy. Somebody like was like, oh, we should go get drinks. And you're like, okay, yeah. And then you're not to say you like, maybe I didn't have a good time having drinks or whatever, or, not to say I didn't like that person, but I also have like really solid homies that I probably don't give enough time. And now I've got my family. And so like, I don't really like go do shit anymore, but, yeah, I think the number's probably relatively low. I mean, but I also think, I talked about this a few weeks ago. Are you familiar with Dunbar's number?
No, I'm not. Mm-mm.
So basically it's, and I butchered the shit out of it too. I probably shouldn't have brought it up again without like getting prepared. But basically like there's like series of numbers in which like you can maintain like a real relationship. And so it's like you can have 5 people that you would like die for or something like that. I'm kind of making this shit up, but it's like, and you can have like 25 that are like true homies that you would go bail out of jail. They'd bail you out of jail. It's like 50 that you would like hang out with anytime. And then it's like beyond that, you get to like the 100. So 150 is like the max number of like real relationships that you can have when you kind of like actually know. And again, I'm butchering all the details, so you definitely got to look it up. But it's like something to the effect of like, once you get past 150, you start having to like think about who somebody is. You might recognize them, but you don't actually like know them or whatever. So anyway, I think it's really interesting. Again, like I'm bringing up shit that I probably should have researched, but it is a very interesting, so to that point though, like when it comes to like those relationships and all that, I definitely don't like, there's not enough room for like the true homie list. I mean, I have got a pretty solid, homie list. And sometimes it gets hard to like figure out where that line is. And maybe you don't necessarily have to think of it in your head, but it's like just natural or whatever. But again, rambling, but to that point, it's like some of those people that I met at conferences, they fall kind of outside of that. And that's why it's like, if you, value that moment, it's like, then you have to put in a little bit of extra effort if you want to maintain that. But I mean, probably also, you can only really maintain so many relationships. You could only maintain a garden as big as you could, handle as one person, right?
There you go, bringing it all back. Love it. Yeah. No, the reason why I ask is because like I had this idea or this thought a while back. Again, a thought. Of like LinkedIn, because like what's the purpose of LinkedIn is to make connections, right? But if you're thinking about that in like the traditional sense, like those are people that you would lean on whenever you like needed a new job or you needed something, right? And so like like when I started looking at like the kind of list, I didn't have that many, right? I got a couple hundred or something, but I was like, okay, I think I know like 85% of these people. And I was
that seems good.
Yeah, and I was like, what about the rest? And like, why am I connected to them? And I didn't really know, and so I just went through and just cut those people out. I was like, I don't know you, really. Like, I just like, I don't, you're not, this sounds really shitty, but like, you're not serving me any value. So like, because I can't like confidently reach out to you and you'd be like, have my back. If that's a big thing. I know that's putting a lot, but like you don't have my, I wouldn't believe you'd have my back, which whatever.
Right.
But like, and I created this message and I was like, okay, like, for those of you that are connected to me now, and those of you that may not be connected to me yet but see this, I would like to reconnect to strengthen that relationship. And I posted my Calendly link for like a 15-minute, like I think it was called like "Let Old Friends Be New Friends" or something like that, to just see if anybody would book a time. And I think I had 4 people book times with me, and they were awesome.
Not very many, huh?
No, but
But awesome conversations.
Yeah, I kind of suspected that. Because if you're already connected with somebody, like I was thinking about in the other person's shoes, like they might not feel like they need to.
Oh yeah,
right.
I got you.
But whenever I get from that point on, anytime I got a new connection request, I send them back this message that I've pre-written. That's just like, hey, like, thanks for, basically like, thanks for, sending a connection request. I value, tangible relationships. So like before I, accept this request, book a time to have a 15-minute chat with me. So we can actually kind of like get to know each other a little bit.
Yeah.
To kind of have at least like a reference point of like who you are.
Totally.
And how many people have booked a time? 0.
Oh, interesting.
0. So.
Huh. Well, I like the idea. I mean, man, when you get somebody who does, you'll be like, all right, this might be a cool motherfucker.
Yeah. But
do you get a lot of LinkedIn to me? Yeah, it is very interesting. And now I really like the way that you worded it, because that's really what it is. You're kind of part of it. Well, I think kind of the reason it exists is for when people need something. It's like, I need a new job, kind of at the fundamental, base of it, I guess. But do you get many requests just from people that you've like never met?
Maybe like 3 or 4 a week. I know that other people get tons more, but like three or 4.
No, I mean that's a good amount of like requests per week for people you don't know at all. Do they typically send like messages?
No.
See, that's the weirdest thing to me.
No.
Like I have actually been that person who has sent out requests to people that I don't know, and usually this is somebody who's like, there's something that about them that I look up to, and usually there's like some level of success that they've had or whatever, and I'm like, oh man, like I might be connected to them through somebody. It's kind of a weird thing in general, but it's like, it's LinkedIn, so fuck it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
But when I do send a message, I'm like, I tell them why. I'm like, I'm kind of like, yeah, we hadn't met in person, but I'm a big fan of this or that, and I'd love to connect or whatever. And, I don't ever actually do anything with those connections, but shit, I don't know. It's LinkedIn.
Well,
I mean,
it's just common decency that you pay, something about that person. I don't know.
Yeah.
I might be just reading too far into this whole philosophy of like trying to know people or whatever too. So I might be full of shit.
Dude, I think
myself,
it's cool,
so
man.
whatever.
Join the club, bro. No, I think it's fucking cool. See, I mean, like I didn't use that because I knew we were going to be fucking getting on a podcast, man. I saw that and I was like, 15 minutes. That's not long enough. Well, so you mentioned your fly fishing. Now this is a thing that I see you doing on Instagram quite a bit. And I've, over the years, like fly fishing was a thing that I don't know anything about it really. I mean, I know what it is, but like I would never see it before. And now it seems like it's kind of like becoming a little more popular or something.
Yep. It's definitely a pandemic hobby. A bunch of people.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been doing it?
Probably, maybe a year or 2 before pandemic stuff. So
yeah.
Isabel got me casting lessons for my birthday. I think maybe 3.5 years ago. And that's how it all kicked off because like, I love fishing in general. I think it's super fun and challenging, and amazing and frustrating all at the same time. But I've never really dipped my toe into the world of fly fishing. And so she got me casting lessons. And then from there, at that point on, it was on.
Nice. Yeah. Once you got the skills, you're like, hey honey, come check this out.
And that's the other thing too. Yeah, like she was so pumped about it. Like I was not surprised one bit. because I mean, she's an amazing woman and super diverse in a lot of different ways. And so she jumped right in too. So she's like, she kicks ass, dude. She outfishes me all the time. Like we went out on this past
Hell yeah.
weekend and she was just slaying him. And I was like, hell yeah, babe. Like, sick. I love seeing you catch fish. It's hot.
Hell yeah. I love seeing that you could like take care of me if we ever like, need to feed ourselves. Yeah, no, that's dope. Well, the one thing I'm big fan might be a little strong, but like I love the art kind of piece of that, like all the flies.
Yeah.
Seeing people make those custom flies and stuff.
Oh
looks
my
pretty
gosh, dude. That was something I mean, I knew like, oh yeah, people tie flies. I had no idea the level of like intricacy that goes into something you just throw into a fucking tree.
Yeah.
Right? You spend 20 minutes, 20 minutes like making this thing to go throw it in a tree. Like,
wait a minute. Tell me more. Hang on. You're making your own flies?
yeah, I have a setup. I haven't tied in a while.
Oh,
but I have a
okay.
setup, yeah.
But you can just go buy flies too,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but you're doing the real deal.
Yeah. One can convince yourself that it would save you money, but ultimately it doesn't, because you have
You're
to
just doing art.
Yeah, you just have to invest in the supply and materials and time and all that. So it's definitely craft. There's a lot of
Yeah.
craft going into it, and also I think it's just kind of immersing in the process, and it's also really badass to like catch a fish with something you made. Pretty
Oh
cool.
yeah.
Pretty cool.
Well, what's that consist of? So is it mostly that you get a hook and then you just start tying stuff around it and kind of making the little shapes that resemble maybe a bug?
Yeah. So it kind of goes first with like what, if you're going to, I'm going to go tie fly. Okay, cool. First of all, it's like what type of species of fish you're going to go after. So
Right.
Trout are kind of a little bit different than say bass or so you would tie.
So that would change like not only the size, but maybe like even how many hooks are coming out of it or something.
Well, just the bug type, because like trout. Yeah,
Okay.
because like bass are predatory fish, so they mainly eat like bait, like other smaller bait fish. So you could create and tie up patterns that resemble like a minnow or some other kind of like little small fish, versus like a trout, you would actually tie more flies that resemble bugs, like a mayfly or
Right.
something a little bit more, something that would exist in their like kind of either habitat part of where you're going. So yeah, you kind of they call it matching the hatch, which I think is kind of bullshit, but it's super detailed. I've got tons of books about it. I'm a nerd like that.
I was gonna say like, so you probably had to get some like how-to books on like how to make these different types of shapes, huh?
Yeah. So there's lots of there's different threads that you use, different feathers, furs, foam, little rubber legs you can put on it, like all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it can get as hardcore as you really want it to be. But the thing is, like, the funny part is like you spend 20-25 minutes tying this like beautiful thing, and then like I was just saying, like you could either throw it in a tree,
Toss it in a tree,
or just it just doesn't work. So yeah, but it's
or
it's
if you're
fun.
anything like me, like it would catch on something in the water and you're like, there's no way to get it back. But that might be different. I guess you're standing typically in like wade high water.
Yeah. So
like
yeah.
it's like a little different whenever you're like fishing out in a lake and you catch a big branch under the water. You're like, well, there's no way I'm getting that.
Yeah. I've definitely lost my fair share of flies to sticks in the bottom of the creek, though. Me and a buddy just went out and did a kayak camping trip on the Lana River this past weekend, and we caught a bunch of fish. It was super fun.
Nice. So that's what I was going to ask. So, so you do like, I see you and Isabella, like you'll go like, I mean, do you go like camping? I feel like I may be making this up, but I feel like, you guys kind of do the whole thing. You go out, you find somewhere, you catch food, you come back and cook it, and then like you camp overnight or something.
We've done that in the past. We haven't
Uh-huh.
done that recently, but we have done that. But what I've been doing this year is I set a New Year's resolution kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go camping at least once a month for the entire year. So 12
Nice.
times.
Oh, even when it's
not a
cold,
huge-
yeah.
Yeah, well, dude, in January I went and I woke up and it was 25. I got out of the tent and it was my water bottle was frozen. It was wild. But yeah, I wanted to set a goal of at least going once a month every year. So just 12 times. Again, not a huge goal.
Yeah.
But I grew up in the Scouts via my grandpa.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and so camping, outdoorsness was kind of, as much of my memories I could recall, kind of a thing, and so
Yeah.
Fishing, camping has always been kind of there.
Yeah. That's dope. So how's it going? Have you gone every month?
I have. This past was 5
Good
out
job,
of 12.
dude.
5 out of 12, so we're still on track.
Still on track. Yeah, you need like your app so you can have your streak.
Oh gosh.
It's like the longest, slowest streak. It's like, well, 1 year, 12 times I did it.
Oh man, we need an app for everything, don't we?
Of course. Well, hey, dude, it's been a little over an hour, man.
Yeah.
It feels like a pretty quick conversation, but dude, this has been really cool because like I said, we've been homies for a while, and we really only catch up it's probably like maybe once a year or something. I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of time that usually goes, but it never seems like that long.
Yeah.
I mean, I do know that I do remember, obviously it was only a couple of months ago I did get to see your ass down at the Funsize South by Southwest party.
Yep.
That was good.
Yep. It's definitely
But,
our hang time is a bit seasonal. We need to change that, but for now it's a bit seasonal.
I know. I've got to just tell Anthony to quit having other people over so I can just know that his house is going to be available for me.
I know.
But
If you got an extra room here, you can come stay here.
done, man. You just fucked up. All right, I'll be like, Tony, I'm headed
Come
that
on.
way.
Come on, let's go.
Get the fishing poles ready.
Oh, I'll take.
Dude,
we'll
we're gonna
go.
do it, man.
We'll go. We'll go.
All right, man. We just planned some shit. We just have to actually make it come to fruition. But dude, it's been great catching up, man. I really appreciate you coming and joining me, and talking about a bunch of different shit.
Yeah, man.
It's been a fun conversation.
It's been super cool. Thanks for giving me the opportunity and letting me, put my thoughts out there. Appreciate it.
Dude, I love it. Man, is there anything else? Here's the thing, man. If you've listened to any of the episodes, I fucking don't know how to end these things. I'm always just all over the place. But is there anything else we need to mention before we bounce?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think it's always just important to remember to be yourself as much as you can. So if you all out there doing that, then
I'm always working on that.
Yeah,
it's hard, man. It's easier said than done.
Every day is a prototype. Try something new. If it works, keep it. If it doesn't, throw it away.
Man, just come ending strong with the analogies. Every day is a prototype. I love it.
Cool,
all right, brother. Well, hey, man. Great chatting with you, and I'm gonna holler at you soon. We're gonna get some shit planned.
All right, sounds good, dude.
Stay at your house and get country.
All
All right, bro. Take
right.
it easy, man.
Bye.